Ford and Chevy are off to a rough start in the first 2 months of 2026, and dealership lots are overflowing with overpriced trucks and SUVs that they can't sell right now. Full-size trucks are down an insane 29% from December of last year, and SUV sales are down even more with a 32% decline. So today I'm here at the two best-selling American brands in the car market. I'm here at Ford and Chevy to check their inventory, see what pricing is like, and also find out if there's any discounts on some of these vehicles that they're having a tough time selling right now. And I'm starting first here at Ford, and then we'll go to Chevy, because some of their vehicles that I thought would be selling like really crazy right now are actually really piling up at the dealerships. And one of those vehicles would be the Ford Maverick right here. This is the most Maverick inventory that I've ever seen on this Ford dealer lot in the past 4 years. I mean, they are absolutely overflowing with these little Mavericks. We've got this entire row going all the way here through this section. Further over there, really far over there, there's another row of Mavericks, and on the left side it continues with that blue one there. And they even have a double stacked row of Mavericks right here. They are just overflowing with these little trucks, and I think that shows you just how slow things have been the last 2 months of January and February of 2026, because if these cheaper trucks are sitting here on the lot, then these more expensive ones, which we'll look at here soon, are definitely just kind of sitting here for a while before they sell. Now, one thing I do want to look at is, as most of these are the newer 2026 models, I want to see how much prices are right now, and I also want to see how big of a discount Ford has on not only these Mavericks, but on some of the other vehicles that they have here as well. Now, I want to point this out because this is probably one of the cheapest Ford Mavericks that you can find here. This is the XL version, and most of the lower trim levels always have these steel wheels on them. I happen to think it looks totally fine with steelies, and honestly, I think I would prefer it if I was going to go super cheap on a Maverick. I would just get the cheapest one I could find. And unfortunately, they're not as cheap as you would think. You know, this was touted as a $20,000 truck when they first announced it, and as you'll see today, that those prices are not even close to $20,000, at least at MSRP. So this is a 2026 all-wheel drive with the 2.5 liter hybrid engine. So it's one of the most expensive XL trim levels that you can get. They do have front-wheel drive versions, but I'm having trouble finding those right here, and maybe I'll find one, but I highly doubt it. But this price will surprise you. It's $33,600 for a hybrid all-wheel drive Maverick. Now, I do want to check the discounts on this Maverick and see if this will drop it below 30 grand. If you can see here on the dealership's website, it's $4,000 off, bringing it to $30,195. Now, the reason it's not under 30 is because they put this $595 all-season protection package on it, whatever that means. But that, of course, brings the price up by about $600, so it didn't quite get it under 30. And as I'm going through this row right now, the Mavericks just seem to be going up in price. And as far as expensive Mavericks go, they have a trimmer right here, and I think this will give you a little bit of a sticker shock on price of a Maverick right now. It's $42,690. $42,000 for a Maverick is kind of insane to me, and I can see why they have so many sitting on the lots right now. And here's the interesting part about that Maverick pricing. Once you look at the Maverick in a trimmer package at $42,000, you can actually get a bigger truck for less money. This Ranger right here is the STX. I would take this over the Maverick any day, because if you're going to spend $42,000 on a Maverick, you can actually save money, buy an actual real mid-sized truck that's body on frame, and you're gonna like this way more than a Maverick. You can never go wrong with a Ranger. So this Ranger 4x4 XL with the 2.3 liter and the 10-speed is $40,175. That's $2,000 less as far as MSRP than getting that trimmer Maverick. And honestly, I'd rather have a cloth seat interior Ranger than a Maverick with leather seats. Plus, the STX has this cool kind of like grayish brown tan color. I don't know how to describe it, but this is a pretty cool color. I would probably get this Ranger right here in this exact color. And it's actually even less than this white one over here at $39,970. But what's the discount like right now on the Ranger? On this Ranger right here, they actually have a $3,000 discount, bringing it to $37,565. Again, with that $595 all-weather package, but otherwise it would have been set $37 flat, basically. So I definitely would highly suggest, if you're in the market for like a cheaper truck, and if you think the Maverick is going to be the best bang for your buck, it's actually not. the best bang for your buck at Ford right now is going to be the Ranger. So I would just encourage you that instead of looking at the Ford Maverick, I would step into the Ranger. You're still going to spend under 40 grand and have a much better truck with a bigger bed and way more room in the cab. Sure, you might not get leather seats, but that's not that big of a deal. Let's be honest. Now, since the Super Duty F250s and 350s are literally right across here from the Rangers and Mavericks, I want to just show you the prices of these, if they have any discounts, and just how many they have on the lot. I mean, these are F250s and 350s kind of all mixed in together. It goes all the way down as far as you can see. And the heavy duty pickup trucks just keep on going as you walk through this side of the lot. We've got an entire row of Super Duties right here. And then if I keep on walking, we've got another row starting off right over here and then just going all the way down as far as you can see right here to where the entrance is on the side. So they are absolutely overflowing with these Super Duty trucks. And man, these things are so expensive. I can see why they're just piling up right here. And if you want some sticker shock at Ford, just look at a King Ranch Super Duty or one of the trimmers and you're gonna be like mind blown. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is a 2026 King Ranch with the 6.7 high output Power Stroke diesel and a 10-speed auto. It's $102,485. And this is an F350, the biggest, baddest Ford truck you can get. And if you step into the Platinum F350 trimmer, this is a trimmer package. You can see it on the truck bed right there. Same 6.7, and it costs even more at $105,660. Man, these used to never be over $100,000. Just 5 years ago, most of them never even hit $90,000. The prices have just gone completely insane. But we're checking on discounts as well on every single one of these trucks. So I want to double check and make sure if these have discounts as well. Usually what I find when I go to dealerships is the more expensive a vehicle is, the higher the discount is, because they just have higher margins on these things. And I was right, the discounts do get bigger. So this trimmer one that we just looked at, you can get $8,000 off on the dealer discount. And I don't see any discounts other than that $8,000 as I scroll through here. It looks like right now the only thing being offered is a dealership discount at $8,000 off. So it's safe to assume 8 grand is probably the average you're gonna get off of a Super Duty. So my brother's wife has a Ford Explorer and she's had it for several years. And one thing that really sucks about it is it has those crappy factory carpeted floor mats. But thanks to today's sponsor, LastFit, she's about to get a serious upgrade.
So this is my sister-in-law's 2020 Ford Explorer. And as you can see, like most vehicles, they come with the carpet floor mats. And these carpet floor mats pick up everything. You've got grass, looks like animal hair, rock, dirt, and they just are so hard to clean. And then they also get it all right in here and underneath, which makes it even harder to clean. See, she's got these in the front as well as the back seat. And over here, she doesn't have one at all. So that's just going on the carpet. Same thing back here in the cargo area. This is all carpet. And on her Explorer, this actually folds up. This is a 3rd row seat. And what I'll show you too is down here on the floor, there's not even floor mats down here. LastFit actually has a mat for the 3rd row seating, the back seat, the driver's side, and the passenger side. And they have one for the rear cargo area that also flips up when she brings up the 3rd row seating. So here we have the LastFit floor mats. You can see the difference in these and the carpet ones. They go all the way up here underneath the pedals, come back around, fit snugly all the way around right here in the doorway. So these will catch everything and they're easier to clean and vacuum. They hold all the debris, dirt, grass, rock, everything. And here in the back is probably my favorite. They have this one here that goes all the way underneath around the passenger side. It comes up in one solid piece here in the center. So you don't get any of that grass and dirt stuck through here like you would in the traditional carpet ones. So it covers the entirety of the back. And then back here in the cargo area, as you can see, they go all the way around. They're molded to fit the 3rd row seats when they're down. You can even get to your child safety latches if you do have somebody in that 3rd row seat. And back here we have the 3rd row seating, which the 3rd row didn't even come with floor mats at all, as I showed you earlier. So this actually goes underneath the 3rd row, underneath the 2nd row. So whoever's sitting back here, that dirt doesn't get underneath on the carpet, comes around, and it actually goes all the way up to the center console here. And then of course we have the passenger side. It already caught some trash.
LastFit has floor mats for pretty much any car, truck, or SUV. If you want to grab a set of LastFit floor mats for your vehicle, I highly recommend it. Just click the link in the description and make sure to use code AUGD1 at checkout for a discount. Thanks to LastFit for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. What about one of the greatest sports car legends of all time. How many does Ford have right now, and what are they going for? Well, I've got an entire row of Ford Mustangs right here, and this has actually been one of the slowest selling Ford Mustangs in all of Mustang history. And a lot of people attribute it to the prices just getting completely out of hand. So I'm hoping when I look at these stickers that there's some pretty good discounts on these Mustangs right here. Now I want to check this color. This is a nice color. I gotta hand it to Ford that they are putting some really cool and interesting colors on the Mustang now. And look how this sparkles in the sun. This is no exception. What a great color. It does have the 5-liter Coyote, but this is where people kind of step back and walk away when they're thinking of buying one of these cars now. As you can see, this is a 2026 GT with a manual transmission, so God bless the manuals. Thank you, Ford, for at least saving the manual V8s. But the price is an eye-watering $61,400, which is just way too much for a Mustang GT. Now, if they give $8,000 off, that puts it at 52-ish. That might be worth buying at that price. So it looks like on the Mustang right here, there's only a $3,000 dealer discount. And in my opinion, personally, that would not be enough incentive for me to pull the trigger on purchasing a new Mustang GT. I think at that point, for that amount of money, you can get a used GT350 with one of the best Mustang engine transmission combos that have ever existed. So for around $45,000 to $50,000-ish, you can just get a 2018, 2019 GT350, and honestly, you'll have so much more fun for a little bit less money than this new one here. So I'm making a pit stop at the Ford Explorer because there's something interesting in this row that will probably surprise you. I have never seen this many Ford Explorer ST trim levels in my entire life. I mean, basically this whole entire row is overloaded with ST Ford Explorers. They even have more on this row in front of the building and a whole pile of them over here and right here. And I think one of the reasons for that is it's more of a sporty, performance-oriented version of the Explorer, and it does come at a higher price because of that. I mean, just look how much dirt is on the hood of these. It just keeps on piling up. And let me show you the price of these things. So it has a 3-liter EcoBoost, and this is a 2026 model that they got around the end of last year. This Explorer will run you $62,835 for a Ford Explorer, and that's just way too much. So this discount is actually quite significant. You get a $5,800 dealer discount, and then Ford's retail customer cash of $3,500, bringing the price down to $54,130. And I feel like that might be a more realistic range of where people want to be when it comes to buying a Ford Explorer. Now, moving on to the baby Ford Bronco right here, these are one of the cheapest SUVs that you can buy from Ford right now. And they do have the Escape, but this is pretty much the last year for the Escape. The little baby Bronco Sport is going to totally take over in their small SUV market because they're actually priced pretty close to the same. So for something like this right here on the Escape, it's $36,000, and it's the one with active all-wheel drive. And then if you go and look at a Bronco Sport, this Outer Banks trim level has real four-wheel drive, and it's $4,000 more at $40,880. Or this Big Bend package right here is the exact same price at $36,505. And when you're cross-shopping the Escape and the Bronco Sport, 90% of people are just going with the Bronco Sport every single time. So as far as the Escape, it's pretty much dead. It doesn't make sense to have two equally sized vehicles at the same price point when one of them is completely outselling the other. And just like those Bronco Sports, when it comes to the full-size Broncos, the Big Bend is one of their biggest sellers. And as you can see here, they're pretty much loaded with the Big Bend trim levels. That's a Big Bend, that's a Big Bend. And this Big Bend right here is $58,285. Now they do have an Outer Banks trim level, and that does get a little bit cheaper. But as far as discounts go, you've got a $4,750 dealer discount and about $2,500 off in other discounts from Ford, bringing it to $51,035. So about $6,000 or so off on a Big Bend Bronco. But like I said, they do have an Outer Banks that does start at a little bit lower of a price, like this right here, and it's got cloth seats and a more basic interior. It starts $10,000 less at $48,465. And on this one here, you get about a $7,500 discount bringing it to $41,215. And at $41,000, that's about $4,000 under the average selling price of most new vehicles nowadays. So that's not too crazy. So as you can see, Ford is definitely on the struggle bus when it comes to selling vehicles, and they're really trying to knock these prices down. And we got one more vehicle to stop at, and then I'm going to move on over to Chevy. And obviously that's going to be the Ford F-150. I'm just going to look at one of these trucks, one of the higher trim level packages, to see how big the discount gets. And this is the F-150 trimmer. So as far as the F-150 goes, I pretty much think it's going to have one of the biggest discounts out of all the vehicles on this lot. This is a 2025 trimmer, and it's been sitting here for quite a while. It does have the 5-liter Coyote, but it's $79,220. So a lot of the other vehicles we saw in Ford's lot were 2026 models. So I'm curious to see how big of a discount you'll get on a 2025 that's still sitting here. So this is the biggest discount I've ever seen on any F-150 that I've ever looked at. You've got an $8,500 dealer discount, $1,000 off a truck month, and then $2,000 retail bonus cash. That's $11,500 off on this trimmer, bringing it down to $67,720. So if you're looking for a good deal on a 25, you can get $11,000 off on a truck that was clearly way overpriced. Now let's see what's going on at Chevrolet and GMC. All right, as you can see, I made it here to Chevy and GMC. And what I want to do here is see if we can find any discounts bigger than we found at Ford, because they're pretty stacked here with trucks, not only regular 1500 trucks, but also a lot of 2500 HDs. And so if you remember, the biggest discount I found was around $11,000 off that F-150 trimmer. So I want to see what they are like here at Chevy. And I'm going to start with the most expensive truck you can find at Chevy to see if they have the biggest discount. And that's going to be the 2500 HD Z71. This one does have the Duramax diesel with the Allison transmission. Now the MSRP of this LTZ four-wheel drive with the diesel is $82,485. Definitely a far cry off from a $100,000 F-350 Super Duty. And they're making it a bit easier on me at this dealership because they actually have hang tags in the window that show any discounts. So as you can see here, that MSRP is $82,400, and it looks like the selling price is $74,485. That's an $8,000 discount right off the bat, looking at that tag without even going inside. So still about $3,000 off from that F-150, but $8,000 is quite a lot of a discount. Now, obviously, we all wish it was $20,000, but unless this car's been sitting on the lot for 2 years, I'm not sure if they'd go down that far. Now, there was one brand that I saw had $20,000 off a new truck, and it was about 6 months ago at the Ram lot. They had the 1500s with the diesel motors that have been sitting on the lot for a while, and they actually had a couple of them with $20,000 off price tags. But I think right now we're not going to find that here, especially at Chevy and GMC. Now, what about cheaper vehicles like this Trax or the Trax RS? They got an LT over there as well. So it looks like these have lower discounts. And like I always say, usually the cheaper a vehicle is, the lower the discounts, because the margins are just a little bit tighter on these vehicles. So something like this Trax here is a $27,990 MSRP, and they have about $2,000 or so off, bringing it to $25,490. I actually never thought I would find any new cars that were around $25,000. I thought that would be the Maverick, but as you saw, a Maverick is, you know, in the $30,000 range. And this one right here, come to Chevy and get something for 25 grand. If you just need something to get you around for super cheap, that little Trax will probably do it. Now, before we get to the full-size Chevy trucks, I want to talk about one of my favorite Chevrolet trucks, and I think maybe you would agree with me on this, but I've always thought the Chevy Colorado was just a really good looking truck, especially in this ZR2 format. I think it just for a little mid-sized truck looks really super aggressive and kind of cool. But as far as discounts go, on the ZR2, looks like you're going to get $4,000 off. We got a $59,400 MSRP, dropping it down to $59,925. So maybe like $3,500 off on this one. And for this work truck spec, I think that's why there's so much plastic. It even says it on the hang tag here. This Colorado work truck spec has about $6,000 off, maybe $5,500 to $6,000, going from a $41,000 MSRP to $35,405. But what about the full-size trucks? I heard that on the ZR2s, they've started going down on the MSRP. So I want to take a look at a ZR2 and see what the MSRP is right now. And I'm wondering if there's discounts, and I'm also wondering if this is one of the diesel engine ones. And it does look like it is. It's got the old Duramax right here on the hood. And I actually think, looking at this discount, that we hit that high discount mark. I'm talking about $10,000 plus is what I consider a high discount at this moment in the car market. So as you can see here on the 2026 ZR2 with the diesel engine, the MSRP is $74,990. And if I walk over here and look at this discount sticker in the window, it's all the way down to $65,985. So that's $11,000 off. So it looks like right now the peak of discounts on at least most of the trucks we've seen so far, $11,000 seems to be the highest discount point. So just so you know, you can get a ZR2 Bison with the Duramax diesel, not with one of their V8s that blow up. So I was gonna check prices on new GMC trucks here just to compare it to Chevy, but this dealership only has used GMC trucks. So that's just a quick update on what's going on with Chevy and Ford prices, what their MSRPs were, how much you can get on a discount. And as you saw, you can get about $11,000 off that F-150 trimmer from 2025, and then Chevy had $11,000 off on their truck as well. So that looks like the highest discount right now as of end of February, beginning of March this year. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Please subscribe to this channel so you get all of our videos. Hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.